All right, guys, so we're here just outside the City National Grove, Anaheim, which is right next to Angel Stadium.
It's too sunny to actually point towards Angel Stadium, so
we're making this work. Basically, here to talk about the race from last night and kind of give a little preview of what we think is going to be to come next week. Okay, so getting into the 250 class, nothing that really surprised us last night. Everybody did what they were supposed to do. Basically, you had J-Mart, AP, McElrath, all out front, Davalos. I mean, there were no shockers there.
Nope.
Yeah, Faulkner had a good night.
Could have been a gymnast on that front flip.
Could have. The front flip was cool, though. I didn't expect him to go all the way over, but he did.
But he landed it.
But anywho, so... Faulkner had a good night, though. He was really, really strong in the heat race, which was impressive, but basically doing the same thing he did in
at Hangtown.
At Hangtown in the outdoor opener. Just a really, really solid ride, putting it down really, really well.
And he is a rookie to Supercross, guys, so don't think that the train, the hype train's over with. He's going to get wins.
Now, speaking of hype train, though, let's get on your J-Mart hype train.
You know what?
J-Mart, 6th place.
It was bad. Hey, I'll admit it. I was wrong, but the season is still young because Martin got 3rd, and how many of us think Martin's actually going to get podiums all year long? Just like I said with Faulkner, I didn't think he was going to come out and set the world on fire, but I still think he's going to get wins. It's an early season. I do think, though, that McElrath and AP kind of set the standard last night, because once Aaron got around Martin, they kind of started gapping everybody, and boys got some work to do because they were on it. I was really shocked with McElrath. I had him, I think I had him in 4th and you had him in 5th. That was kind of our prediction for yesterday or something, but either way, I definitely didn't think he was going to come out and win it, so good for him.
Yeah, I mean, he looked really, really good. He was kind of a surprise for me. I didn't really have him. I didn't think a lot into the 250 season because you just never know who's going to ride each coast.
Yep.
But I didn't really have him anywhere particularly. He was kind of off my radar, so that was good to see him get a win. He's a nice kid from what I can tell, so it was good to see him get a win. Plessinger, again, he looked good. He rode really well. He looks to be on pace, if not better than last year. So I still feel like he stands a really, really good chance of actually winning the championship. So it'll be interesting going forward to see where we get to. I think J-Mart is going to get wins, and I think he is going to get podiums. Now, whether or not, though, he can link it all together, because like I said, his 6th place last night was not impressive to me whatsoever.
It was underwhelming, yeah.
So, but we'll see going forward where we get to. Okay, so moving along, 450 class yesterday. What are your thoughts on it?
I got one word for you guys. Damn. I could say gone. See ya, sayonara.
Kenny was impressive.
For all the hype that, A1, it did live up to the hype. It's crazy. Every year everybody does the testing. You hear the same old, my bike's good, I feel good, I'm better than ever, my nucleus is good. But I think it lived up to the hype. And everybody said, oh, Kenny walked everybody, so it wasn't that good of a race. Well, no, if you were really paying attention from 2nd to 10th, even all the way back to Bogle and Wilson, there was good racing, which is going to lead to some parity this year. But damn, dude, Kenny, start to finish, he was on a cruise control. He wasn't even going 3-2 on the far side, and he still, I think it was like 16 or 17 seconds at the end of the
last thing I heard was 13, but it could have been more. We haven't watched the race on TV, we just saw it in person, but Kenny was on rails, unbelievable. He freaking just went out, dominated, like Justin said. He wasn't even doing 3-2 after the sand section. He was just going 2-2-2 or no 2-2-1 into the corner, and still gapping everyone. Now, kind of a surprise for me last night with how well they rode, and I know it didn't show in the main, but watching in the semis and that kind of stuff, Blake Baggett
did good, until he went down in the main and the whoops. I think it was like might have been either the 1st or 2nd lap. Once again, when you're at the races and all the craziness going on, it's sometimes hard to pinpoint every lap. But yeah, he rode good. He we talked about it like a week before or the week of before we left, what he was going to do, and I think that if he can get some starts and stay on 2 wheels, he could get on the box. I don't know how consistently, because he's one of those guys that's not a Supercross guy, but the KTM is he's gelling with it, and I definitely didn't think he was going to come out swinging like that last night. And you can even say, and I know that, like we talked about, but even Davey, like the BTO, this is more of like props to the BTO squad. they got their stuff going for them, and they have a good squad with those two guys. So
yeah, I mean, Davey looked okay in my opinion last night. I watched Blake through the semi.
Yeah.
That's where I really was like, wow, that kid is impressive.
Yep.
And so it was a good race. You know, with that going on, you had Eli.
We got to talk about that for a second.
Let's talk about Eli, because we're both Eli fans, and man, he
disappearing act, man.
Very impressive in practice, qualifying, impressive in the heat race. We were like, okay, cool. This is a good sign, but at the same time, we said, well, he did this last year at A1 also. And then in the main, got a start, dude. Sprinted for the first 2-3
Him and Marv
laps.
Passed each other like 15 times.
It was great.
Laps.
The racing on that for those first 3-4 laps was awesome. And then he fades like a cheap prom dress. I mean, I feel bad for the kid. He said in the press conference he pumped up, which I guess if he did, well, I can relate to that because I pump up too sometimes. But man, it was just very, very unimpressive for an opener for Eli, and to be completely honest, he was almost about to get passed by Sealy at the end too.
I think if there had been another lap, Cole probably would have got him.
Probably would have got him. So
I don't know. I know it's the first race, but like I said to you last night, man, I can't keep basing everything off his speed and hoping that one day it's going to click. Not when Kenny's on a roll like he is, not when you still have Dunge, not when Marvin's getting more confident, not when Ando's doing what he did last night. I can't base everything off of, oh, Eli's got this gnarly speed, because if he keeps doing this, I'm really starting to lose hope in that kid. I really am. I hate saying that, but that was pathetic. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. That was pathetic. How do you go from second with at least 3 seconds on Dunge, and then you go all the way back and you almost get past and end up in sixth? Like, and he didn't even crash. That one blew the rhythm section, and I honestly think he mentally screwed himself. He started overthinking things like he always does, and it's just, the Cowie guys are not going to be happy. I know it's one round, but they're not going to be happy.
Now, let's move on from that disappointment to probably the biggest disappointment of the night, in my opinion.
Oh, I know.
And you know what this is.
Yeah.
Porcel doesn't make the main. A full factory rider doesn't make the main to Top Jimmy and Nick Schmidt.
And Nick Schmidt. Yep.
Top Jimmy and Nick Schmidt.
Yep.
Beat Porcel to get into the main in the LCQ.
Yep. No, that was.
And just for a third ringer, Trey Kennard also beats him, which isn't super impressive, except for Trey didn't start in the main because he had a hurt shoulder
or something. Yeah.
So you have a guy that's injured and 2 privateers beat you out.
Yeah, no, Christoph, I don't foresee him having a ride after this year.
I really hope he doesn't. This works into a thing of, like, what Mathis talks about is, like, get some of these guys out of here. Porcel is one of those guys. Get him out of here. The guy has speed.
He needs to go back to the GPs.
He doesn't have the mentality to ride at this level anymore here. He might be able to do something over in the GPs, you know, get some good finishes or whatever, but as far as it goes for Supercross outdoors in America, I just don't see him having it anymore. Like, how on a full factory bike do you not make the main?
No, and especially that bike is a damn good bike. Obviously, Ando proves that. And that kind of leads me into another thing is let's talk about that charge that Ando put on. Holy crap, dude. I mean, after the first turn, he was flat tracking on the outside, getting in the loose stuff. I mean, dude, he made up a good 6 or 7 seconds on Tomac in about 3 laps. And I mean, he was just on it. You know, I got to give props to you. I thought Dungey was going to end up getting 5th. He ended up getting 2nd. You know, typical Ryan Dungey. But I really think that if Ando would have got a start, I think I would have probably had to say Ando probably was the second fastest dude on the track last night.
Probably was. And Dunge was really not impressive to me last night.
No.
He did his typical diesel move. He came out, had a decent start. He made 1 pass, but 2 because he passed Eli and Marv. But realistically, he had nothing for Kenny, and it's going to be a long season for him. If you remember back to 2015 when Eli was laying it down outdoors, and the interview at, was it Glen Helen?
Glen Helen.
And he just looked defeated. You give it a few more rounds like what Kenny did last night, you're going to start getting the same interviews from Dunge all the time.
And then we got one last thing to talk about, I guess. Somebody that kind of rode like a turd, and he's one of our favorite riders.
Cooper Webb.
That's Cooper Webb. Oh, man. You can start off with that one.
I don't even know where to start. All day, he didn't look comfortable. Maybe he was having bike problems. He said he had some nerves in the press conference. So, I mean,
It was his first true 450 race.
It wasn't bad for a rookie race.
Let's be honest, though.
But that was very underwhelming.
No,
it was a sad performance all day around. I mean, he qualified, what, 12th, 13th?
Yeah, something like that.
Way down there like that.
His best was the first couple laps of the first practice. He was running 8th, and he never saw the top 10 after that.
Yep. I mean, he was not impressive in the heat. He had to go to the semi, which I know he's not used to.
Nope.
And so that probably threw him off a little bit. And then got in the main and just didn't have a good start. I think he was like 12th or 13th off the start.
That. Yep.
And
he rode an 11th for like 4 laps.
Yeah, didn't make anything happen. So I'm sure he'll get better.
He's gonna
build. He's gonna build. You know, he's not setting the world on fire as much as everyone I think thought he might in 450 class, but he's not. I wouldn't call him out of it yet.
No, and it might take till the East Coast when he starts getting on tacky dirt to really start doing good. And I still think he's going to win at least one round. I still do.
Too, yeah.
I still believe it. But after last night, once again, it's only one race.
It's going to be a long road for Coop.
It's going to be a very long Supercross season if he keeps riding like that and stuff. So, you know, it's a typical rookie in the 450 class. But he's going to build and he's going to get better because he doesn't like to lose. But if that's any indication, it's going to be a long season.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about next week. Where do we think we're going forward? Let's start with the 250 class here.
Just the top 3?
Well, you know, let's just what do we think we're going to see next week? We don't even have to do positions. Let's just see where do you think we're going to go from here?
I think that the McElrath and Aaron Plessinger train is going to keep on rolling. I still believe that if Aaron would have got the start over Shane last night, taking nothing away from Shane, he rode great, solid laps. I think it would have been vice versa. I think Aaron would have won it. I think that those two continue on a roll. You can put them at first or second. I think that Jeremy and Austin Faulkner kind of proved to us why they were 2 of the top picks. And I don't really know for a 5th place guy. I really like the way Mitchell Oldenburg was riding last night. Once again, got a great start, but just really one line, couldn't really move his way forward. I think that he's another guy that's going to have to be looked at the next few races and stuff. I don't think Martin's going to end up in 3rd. I really highly doubt he'll be even 5th the next couple rounds. So,
yeah, I would agree with you pretty much on all that. I think AP and McElrath continue to go back and forth at the front. I think J. Mart and Faulkner start figuring stuff out, and they start moving their way up farther. I mean, Faulkner did have a good ride last night. He front flips, gets up, and still comes back to 8th. So, you know, he had a good ride. Now, another person that I think we're going to need to be on the lookout for, maybe not for like top 5s, but I would say top 10s here, at least for the West Coast. Charbonneau.
Tristan Real, the LCQ race.
Yeah, we didn't touch on that with the 250s, but LCQ race, he was on rails.
Yeah,
he had a shit start, and he came through the pack and was on rail. He didn't quite make the main, but that kid was fat. He caught my eye, and I watched him for the last 2-3 laps there of the LCQ, and he was just on rails. So I think he starts figuring it out, gets it together, gets in the main, and like I said, probably not in the top upper echelon of people, but
just
definitely, top 10 where people start going, this kid, maybe Geico shouldn't have dumped him, you know?
And I feel the same way about John Ames. You know, I said the same thing to you last night. I think John got like 3rd in the LCQ or 4th maybe. Yep. I don't know what he ended up in the main. He's a rookie. That was his first Supercross race. He barely even did anything in Road Arena Cross, just enough. I think John, just like Tristan, is going to be another kid you got to watch out. Once again, not going to set the world on fire, but he's going to do enough to get your eye and realize, oh, okay, you know, this kid definitely can have a bright future if things keep rolling for him. So.
Okay, so now let's transition one more time. 450 class, going forward here. I'll start this time. I think going forward, we see a lot of the same we did last night. I think Kenny continues on this roll he's got going on. You know, a lot of people were like, oh, he's hyped, he's not going to do as good. No, he came off Monster Cup, came out last night, did exactly what he was going to do. Dominate, and that's what he did. He dominated all night long. So there wasn't any question. So I think he continues on that roll. I think he's focused. I think he's in a really, really good spot. The HRC bike looks really, really good underneath him.
Like butter.
So I think he continues to do that. I think Dunge does a lot of the same of what he did last night. You know, continues to podium and just podium the shit out of him. But if he can't stop Kenny from winning,
he's going to have to get wins, like we said.
He is. He's going to, if Dunge wants to win this, he's going to have to get wins because Kenny is just looks really good. Hopefully we see Eli not pump up and start clicking some faster times off. And you know, I think Webb continues to build going forward. And you know, again, Baggett too. Doesn't hit the deck. You know, does better than last night. So
I think Ando and Cole Sealer are going to continue to build. I still believe that Ando was the second fastest guy last night. I think that if those guys can get starts, I think that, you know, Dungy and Marv were second and third. I think that those guys are going to have to watch out because, you know, Ando and Cole didn't really start loosening it up until about, you know, right about the 13-minute mark last night. So I think if those guys can get good starts and stuff, I think that it's going to put those guys on notice. But like you said, you know, if you're going to beat Kenny this year for a championship, you are literally going to have to beat him. You're not going to get second. You're not going to get third. You're not going to win 2 or 3 times. And I'd almost have to say, after seeing last night and living up to the hype that we all thought he would, dude, I don't know. I was just so impressed by that. I think that it's going to be one of those things where he might win more than half the races this year. He might even win 12 to 13 races this year because there was no stopping him. I mean, even when Dungy got in the second, he got a clear track. He didn't gain any time on him whatsoever. And once again, Kenny was on cruise control. So wait till you go to a track where there's some different variation rhythms where, you know, you can go 3-3 quad or, you know, quad in or wheel tap, double trip, whatever, where Kenny can really show his relaxed, smooth, methodical style. I mean, to do that on a one-line track like he did last night was impressive. Like I said, take him to a technical track, it might be 25 seconds to second place.
It'll be interesting to say the least. So we'll just see what happens for San Diego next week. We'll be doing these videos every week. So like, subscribe, comment if you like this. And you know, we're just trying to give you guys a different take. I know we all listen to Pulp MX, DMXS, you know, all that kind of good crap. So, you know, we're just trying to give our take, our thoughts. So feel free to comment below with whatever you want. I love talking to you guys through the comments about different stuff. And we'll see you guys next week after San Diego.
See ya.